If you have ever tried to recreate a design in Flutter and noticed discrepancies, you have seen logical pixels in the work together with the rendering engines. But what is logical pixels and what is the difference to physical pixels? Let's first understand what pixels are before diving into logical pixels and device pixel ratio. Let's start with the basics. What is a pixel? A pixel is the smallest unit of a digital image or display, essentially a tiny square that emits light. These pixels work together to create the images you see on your screen. The more pixels a screen has, the sharper and more detailed the image will appear. For example, a 1080p resolution consists of 1920 pixels horizontally and 1080 pixels vertically. This configuration offers over 2 million pixels. When designers refer to an element being a certain number of pixels wide, they're talking about the number of these tiny squares needed to create that element. However, across different devices, the same number of pixels can appear differently, which brings us to the concept of logical pixels and how they work in Flutter. In Flutter, we don't use pixels in the traditional sense. We use something called logical pixels, or device-independent pixels. Logical pixels are a flexible measurement that helps maintain consistency across different devices, regardless of their pixel density. It's like Flutter's way of saying, hey, let's not get too hung up on the actual pixels. Let's focus on what visually makes sense for the user. To achieve this, Flutter utilizes a value known as the device pixel ratio, or DPR. The DPR is a multiplier that tells Flutter how many physical pixels should be used to represent a single logical pixel on a specific device. Let's consider an example to illustrate this. Imagine you have a 100 times 100 pixel box, which uses physical pixels. In Flutter, if you set a width to 100 logical pixels, the box will appear roughly the same size on any device. However, the number of physical pixels it occupies will vary depending on the device's DPR. On a device with a DPR of 1, the box will be 100 times 100 physical pixels. This is then multiplied for each increase in DPR. Now, if you have ever worked with images in Flutter, that is the same thing. On your phone, they might look fine, but on a high-end device, it might look blurry. If this is the case, instead of just loading in an image from a URL, you utilize a CDN where you can provide width, height, and the DPR. Now you have a better understanding of pixels. A better understanding of architecture might also help.